Howdy. Well, it's official. Leggo was the most popular toy brand of 2021. But like all monolithic companies, they've had their share of scandals. In 2020 alone, Leggo produced over 36 billion bricks and 98,000 tons of Lego. So even the smallest scandals can have a surprisingly big impact on the world. And today, we're looking at the scandals that caused the most controversy among the media or the public.
Oh my gosh, it's heads! People's heads!
While I've already talked about controversial Lego sets, I'd like to talk more about the controversial Lego events that stirred up trouble. So let's check out the 10 biggest Lego scandals. And just a reminder, as long as you're not hurting anyone, I respect your opinion. And if you do have an opinion on these scandals, I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments. Anyway, let's begin. For number 10 we have the toy store owner who refused to sell Harry Potter Legos. And you get one guess why. You see, back in early 2010, managing director of entertainment toy stores, Gary, refused to stock Harry Potter sets in any of his toy stores. Why? Well, because of his religion. You see, he was a born-again Christian, and Gary claimed that the Harry Potter toys were evil.
Pity.
He believed Harry Potter Lego exposed children to witchcraft. Ooh. How do these people get up in the morning? Wake up. In his own words, I don't want to encourage children to be dabbling in anything that might have to do with the occult. I don't know, man. I haven't read the thing in like 20 years, so I'm not saying that your religion didn't tell you to do that. But does your common sense honestly tell you children are gonna join up into Satanism because of Harry Potter Lego? I mean, really, how many teenagers do you actually have saying this?
Yeah, man. I got into the real demon worship. Once I played with my Harry Potter Legos, there was no going back for me. From then on, I was a devout Satanist.
Oh no, what happened next?
And then I became a Pastafarian. Yarr.
Dyar, that be a travesty, matey. Though you know, our weddings are awesome. Some shoppers were offended, but to be fair, it is his toy store chain. And if I'm buying Lego for my nieces and nephew, I'd rather know up front what toy stores I don't want to support. And for number 9 we have Citizen Brick's controversial Lego sets. There is a lot of things out there Lego would just never make. Maybe it's not kid-friendly enough. Maybe it's just weird. One example being Citizen Brick's Breaking Bad set. If you've ever seen Breaking Bad before, you probably know it focuses on some not-so-kid-friendly concepts. A chemistry teacher essentially becomes a meth cook, and his old student becomes a drug dealer with him. So yeah, not really the kind of stuff you'd expect from Lego. And indeed, Lego never approved this set. Instead, it was made available for purchase by an independent company called Citizen Brick. Essentially, a company that remakes Lego into things that the Lego company would never approve of. Such as this Exorcist Lego. And I thought I'd seen it all. The description reads,
Comes with toy crucifix and trusty disembodied demon head sidekick. Yay!
And you know how the Lego company strictly doesn't do military Lego? Well, with Citizen Brick, no problem. Generally, they've got a military surplus going. But to my knowledge anyway, Lego has never acknowledged Citizen Brick's existence. Also, I think it's important to note, Citizen Brick has done some amazing things, such as raising $145,000 to help in relief efforts in Ukraine, even making these cool custom Zelensky minifigures. So even if Lego never acknowledges Citizen Brick, my respects go to them for working hard to help many people. And for number 8 we have Lego uses a derogatory term for the learning disabled. In 2015, Lego released a new toy named Turg. This little guy originates from the Lego line known as Mixels, based on the Cartoon Network show. And Mixels do certainly look, unique. The problems arose when on the company's website, our buddy Turg was described as an experiment that's gone very, very wrong. He's part frog, part chicken, and part back of the bus window licker. Oh dear, I haven't even heard that term before and already it sounds offensive to me. You see, the term window licker is typically seen as a derogatory term for people with learning disabilities. And some people on social media were not pleased with this. A representative for MenCaps, a charity for those with learning disabilities, spoke to BBC in regards to tergs.
It is unacceptable that a toy company like Leggo have used a term that offends people with a disability such as this, especially as the toy is aimed at children. Bullying is a daily reality for many disabled people, and use of language like this only makes it worse.
The way I frame this in my head to better understand it is I think of what if Turg was described as autistic and an experiment that has gone very wrong. To me, as someone on the spectrum, I would be a little bit offended if I heard that. So I better understand what they might be going through. Leggo took the whole thing on the chin, and Leggo's vice president removed the language from their website and made a public apology.
We have very high expectations of our products. This also includes the text we use to describe them towards consumers. We are sorry for the wording that has been used. Sorry!
The term is surprisingly specific though, so it does surprise me that Leggo would unintentionally use a term like that. But either way, perhaps Turg could have been, I don't know, licking an ice cream instead? Whatever the case, a lot of creativity came out of the Mixels Leggo line, and there was certainly no other Leggo out there like them. And for number 7 we have the Great Leggo Counterfeit Scandal. While Leggo sells about $5.5 billion worth of genuine Leggo each year, there is also a massive market for millions of dollars each year from Leggo counterfeit sets that sell from China. Part of what makes this counterfeit market so huge is that Leggo sells limited edition sets. As you might have seen in my rarest Leggo sets vid, this can make them very valuable, such as the 10,179 Leggo Millennium Falcon from 2007. It was retired in 2009 and is now valued between $3,000 and $4,000. And if some dishonest criminal makes a counterfeit of a discontinued set, they've potentially got themselves some expensive counterfeit Leggo. And counterfeiters aren't having to replicate something digitally complex like headphones. All they have to do is replicate little plastic bricks. As a result of this, there's a company in China that capitalizes on this. The company can steal tens of millions of dollars each year by selling fake Leggo. As a result of this, there's a real genuine risk of Leggo fans or investors buying fake sets. And sometimes this can mean thousands of dollars out of pocket. Over the years of us playing with Leggo sets, somewhere along the line, Leggo became a trading commodity. It can be an investment. But it's not just investors who are getting scammed. Sometimes it's just regular parents buying Leggo for their kids. For example, Tom in Ohio bought a Leggo X-Wing off Facebook for his son. It was about half price, but when his son went to give it a try, they had an unfortunate discovery.
The pieces weren't the same quality. They didn't go together as nicely as regular Leggo.
Poor Tom had accidentally bought a knockoff set, probably from Lepin, the most big and notorious of these Leggo knockoff brands. They operate completely openly and even have a website. And to my untrained eye, if I saw these, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this and Leggo. All this counterfeiting has even dropped the value of some regular Leggo sets, the most famous one being the UCS Millennium Falcon. It dropped in value for a time because fake Millennium Falcons had been popping up all over the internet, and they were a less hefty price than the original. Eventually, Leggo took notice of this, and they filed civil actions in China against Lepin. The case was accepted by Chinese courts in 2016, and around 3 years later in 2019, crap finally started happening. The Shanghai police raided the Lepin factories, and the executive of Lepin, Meiji, was arrested. And by 2020, 4 years later, Leggo announced they had a favorable outcome. The Leggo sets Lepin was directly copying, such as Star Winners or Galaxy Heroes, were copyright infringement. No, you think so? And it took the Chinese copyright courts 4 years to figure this out. Oh, nice work, Xi Jinping. I can see your criminal justice system is working perfectly smoothly there. Lepin was forced to pay Leggo like 4.7 million Chinese yuan, which is like $660,000 US, and Lepin was forced to make a public apology to many of the the Chinese toy stores. It's certainly not the best case scenario, and Lepin has since started their own not Marvel Avengers line. Oh, nice work, Lepin, they'll never spot the difference. But sadly, with the Chinese copyright system, I think Leggo is lucky anything happened. And I hope this is obvious, but this is nothing against the Chinese people, just the Chinese law. But regardless of what I think of this has messed with the Leggo market and certainly resulted in some frustrated buyers. And for number 6 we have Leggo cuts ties with Blizzard. Originally, Leggo was going to work with Blizzard to release the Overwatch 2 Leggo set. However, before this could happen, all the abuse allegations happening in Blizzard became public knowledge. When Leggo heard about this, they very quickly backpedaled. So the only Overwatch product that was going to release in 2022 did not release in 2022. Alice Carter, Leggo's senior manager in brand communication, spoke to The Verge about this.
We are currently reviewing our partnership with Activision Blizzard. This is due to our concerns about continued allegations regarding their workplace culture, especially the treatment of female colleagues and creating a diverse and inclusive environment.
You see, Blizzard has apparently had an openly frat boy workplace environment for a long time, and employees claim this environment fostered sexism, harassment, and discrimination with 700 reported incidents in the workplace. And apparently, their CEO had known about this for years but failed to do anything. But as you can probably imagine, this was not the type of workplace that Leggo wanted to associate with in any way at all. I think, as well as the obvious bad press, Leggo only wanted to support companies that were being inclusive and decent to all their employees. So as of this video anyway, they've cancelled the Overwatch 2 set. Though a few Leggo YouTubers like Duckbricks did manage to get their hands on this cancelled set. And you know, Blizzard's revolting behaviour aside, I've gotta say, this is a fine looking mech. And coming in at number 5 we have Leggo suggests women don't belong in science labs. Late in 2019, Leggo was criticized for one of their comic strips in a kids magazine, a comic from the Leggo Friends universe. The comic shows these young ladies trying to get into a research lab, but the girls decide they can't sneak into the lab because they'd, quote, stick out like sore thumbs. Instead, they decide they're better off dressing up as bakers to bake muffins for the scientists. I mean, why not just go full 1960s on us, Leggo, and dress them up as housewives? Amazingly, some people thought this comic was quite sexist, and not the usual standards they'd expect of Leggo. One woman on Twitter wrote,
Women in tech, STEM, and research already exist. We don't have to make muffins anymore.
Another image showed the girls dismissing science, saying it was boring. In their words,
boring! Time to do some baking!
Right. Who wants to learn about the creation of the universe and its 100 trillion year lifespan? Or understand the 1 trillion megaton bombs going off every second powering the sun and our existence? Or see images of exploding supernovas from the Hubble telescope?
Everything out there is made of the same stuff that we are. Isn't that wild?
Nah, boring. I want to bake. Some customers felt these sort of comics discourage girls from getting involved in science, and you know, I get that. Emily added, this is so disappointing to a lifetime Leggo lover and female researcher. Once again, Leggo apologized to customers. A spokesperson for Leggo said,
We believe Leggo Play is for everyone, and our magazine should reflect that. We wanted to show that girls have lots of interests, including science, but our language missed the mark this time, and we apologise. Sorry!
Well, I'm sure the author of this comic didn't intend to be harmful. This was, sadly, a reflection of the times once. One study found from 6 million researchers over 20 years, there were a lot more men in science labs than women. But as of 2010, this gap has improved with now 3 men for every 2 women. Still not equal, but at least it's an improvement. I also particularly like this tweet response from a female researcher with a PhD in neuroscience. She said,
I work in biotech, and most of us in research and development were female. I've worked in labs where the opposite is true too, but I've never felt out of place at a conference for being female.
And for number 4 we have Leggo characters are now featuring more angry and aggressive features. Many moons ago, back in 1978, we were given the original Leggo minifigure. They were given a simple smile and a yellow skin. But by 1989, different facial expressions had started appearing. And by 2003, it was nice to see some new skin colors occurring. But we'll talk more about those controversies later. But by 2013, some researchers at a New Zealand university had discovered something rather odd. They had looked at all 3,655 minifigures from 1978 to 2010, and they noticed over the years the faces of minifigures had become increasingly angry and aggressive looking. The researchers were apparently concerned in how this would affect the way kids interact with toys. To quote the study,
"The children that grow up with Lego today will remember not only smileys, but also anger and fear in the minifigures' faces."
and, well, I can at least see where they're coming from with that. But that being said, I think there are many other places where kids will be picking up angry faces. Not to mention colourful language, such as maybe their favourite Fortnite or Minecraft YouTubers. But I think many parents want to see Lego as a kind of sanctuary from that aggression, so I get it. They noticed a trend towards more combat-related Lego as well. The team leader of this study said,
"Lego has a considerable array of weapon systems in their sets. We cannot help but wonder how this affects how children play."
Personally, I think the push towards more aggressive faces has a lot more to do with marketing and authenticity than anything insidious. Maybe instead of the old generic Lego smile, they give their Lego figures a little smirk or maybe a frown, or just a more emotional expression in general. I think it's just the result of an increasingly competitive and saturated market, particularly for young kids' toys. In the age of smartphones and YouTube, to keep a kid's attention is not always easy. And as I mentioned, authenticity. Lego fans want the minifigures to match more closely the original material. And, well, characters like Voldemort aren't really known for smiling, and I suspect if he did smile, a kitten would die. So why would his Lego smile? Personally, I think these increased aggressive faces are a real phenomenon, but I don't know what the right answer is to it. I think Lego has a strong influence on kids, but I also think it does a lot more good than harm. And of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with expressing an aggressive emotion. Yes, emotion should be controlled, but kids are going to be happy, sad, and angry whether we like it or not. So perhaps kids seeing a Lego minifigure also feeling this angry emotion is more therapeutic than harmful. They might also feel that way. But that being said, that's my uneducated opinion. And I think smarter, more educated people than me should be having this discussion with Lego directly. But regardless, I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. And coming in at number 3, a Lego rifle disrupts a bus. I think it's safe to say we live in a complicated time in history. I don't need to elaborate further than we've had some horrifying events in the last 22 years. Some of these effects have included making airport security somehow even more annoying, and me, and apparently many others, feeling uncomfortable when we see an unattended bag.
Unattended bag!
And it's understandable to be cautious. We're protective of our loved ones and ourselves. But unfortunately, one day on a USA school bus, all this fear went a little too far. And, you know, it was a bus full of kindergarten kids, how would they know? A 6-year-old boy said one word to get the entire school bus in a panic, and that word was gun. The boy's bus was on its way to school, and the boy pulled out a Lego minifigure rifle in front of the other kids. The kids, being like freaking 6 years old, all began to panic. This caused the bus driver to slam on the brakes. And I'm sorry to report terrible, terrible news about this young boy. They could be wrong, but the news articles report he got detention. I'm sorry, this is very sad news. The mother of the boy declared the school overreacted a bit, and personally I agree with her. It's a freaking pint-sized plastic Lego gun. What was he possibly going to do to endanger anyone? Accidentally swallow it? He caused shock to the kids, sure, but they're freaking 6 years old. I'll wager he could have said the bus driver was SpongeBob in disguise and the kids would have freaked out even more. And for number 2 we have Lego teams up with the UN against gender prejudice. Yeah, apparently sometimes Lego teams up with the United Nations. Who knew? When it comes to toys, both girls and boys can face some prejudice, typically for any toys that aren't expected to be used by their gender. For example, a boy playing with dolls or a girl playing with Matchbox cars. In fact, recently a study was done of 7,000 parents and children aged 6 to 14 years. These families came from all around the world, and they found that 71% of boys and 42% of girls worry about gender prejudice in their toys. Not in those words, obviously, I doubt many of them even know what prejudice means, but they worry about being made fun of if they play with a toy that was associated with another gender. So a guy might secretly like Barbie cars, but he might be uncomfortable with getting a Barbie car or zooming Barbie around because he might be worried about the prejudice he might receive. In my own experience, as a child, I really wanted a Furby, but I associated Furby with girls, so I never got one. So on United Nations' official Day of the Girl, Lego pledged to remove gender stereotypes from their toys and marketing. To me anyway, that sounds fine so far. What's wrong with that? Well, apparently, a lot is wrong with this to some people, because this produced outrage and scoffing from quite a lot of people. And you really don't have to look far for outrage responses. Just open up news articles or Twitter and look at the comments for any news article reporting this. Even CNN's posts seem to be derisive with their quotation marks. Some comments do of course shout cancel culture and political correctness, which I swear are the most overused words on Twitter. But honestly, to an upset mother like this one, I would like to just politely ask, how do you actually think this will affect your child's play at all? Maybe they might have some more female astronauts, scientists, or construction workers? Maybe some more male ballerinas? Maybe Lego friends might even get a few guys in the cast. And what's wrong with that? Although there was a lot of outrage, I personally don't think there's a need to be hyperbolic about this. There will always be Lego that girls may like more, and there will always be Lego that boys may like more. I believe all Lego wants to do is remove the stereotypes in their sets. So the kids get to decide what they want to play with, not society. If a guy wants to play with Lego friends, go for it, buddy. Based on the outrage on Twitter, I understand some people watching may disagree, and that's fine if you do. I just don't think Lego's goal is to be politically correct. Sure, brand image might be a factor, but I think the main goal is to offer creative empowerment to any child of any gender. And keep in mind, this is all happening on a global scale. So we might not see as many gender stereotypes in, say, USA or UK, but places like Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Japan, and South Africa can have much stronger gender stereotypes in their culture. I think the whole point of Lego and the UN's campaign is to empower women all over the world. Lego is all about problem solving, and I think that's why Lego and the UN teamed up together, to help support women to rebuild the world through problem solving in any place of the world. Lego can be the first building blocks for a child to learn that problem solving. So personally, I think this is a beautiful goal to aim for. And coming in at number 1, racial equality in Lego minifigures. Have you ever wondered why your parents, or maybe even your grandparents, have purely yellow Lego minifigures? Many moons ago in 1978, Lego made a decision to unite all minifigures under one race of color, and that color was, of course, yellow. But as I think many people have asked over the years, why yellow? Well, apparently, Lego chose yellow because they wanted the person playing with the figures to be able to imagine any person of any color. They didn't want to assign a specific ethnicity to any character. And for decades after, the Lego figures had yellow skin and nothing else. Originally, the first issue started when Star Wars was born. While the first movie had a mostly Caucasian cast, in the second movie we got Lando Calrissian, the coolest, smoothest pilot in the galaxy.
And we'll have that shield down. We've got to give him more time.
Unfortunately, at first, Lando did not receive a minifigure at all, and many Lego fans were left scratching their head wondering why. Lando was an important part of The Empire Strikes Back. What gives? Despite people's patience, Lego showed no signs of creating the character. So eventually, the public made a push for racial equality amongst Lego minifigures. And after many years, Lego was forced to address the elephant in the room. Many of their Lego minifigs were excluding races with darker skin tones. So Lego began introducing darker skin minifigures with Lando and the NBA set. And on a purely aesthetic level, how much better do these NBA characters look with a range of skin tones? Look at the original sets by comparison in all yellow. To me, they just look awkward and weird. But with a range of skin tones, I think it looks way more authentic to the NBA experience. There's another big reason that Lego is making strides to try and vary it up from yellow. You see, not everyone thought yellow was as racially diverse a color as Lego once did. Maya Weinstock, a very big Lego fan, made an interesting point when she wrote for the Scientific American.
While many with lighter skin might see themselves in a neutral yellow minifigure, I don't know if people with darker skin have also embraced this viewpoint.
And when I see this chart up front, I kinda get why LEGO's trying to get more diverse with their skin tones. As of 2015 anyway, nearly 50% were yellow and 41% were light. The best results for a browner shade was 4%. Obviously, this doesn't mean many ethnicities don't love LEGO and get a lot out of it, but perhaps LEGO wants to make sure they feel represented too. Something that recently encouraged people to speak out about these issues was petitions, such as the Diverse LEGO Minifigure petition. Alice made a really interesting point in this petition that really stuck with me.
Bias is absorbed, consciously and unconsciously. Yellow minifigures teach us that light-skinned people are the default and dominant population.
And you know, I'd never even considered that before. But since these issues, LEGO has worked hard to include more skin tones that depict actual races and a wider spectrum of colours. And personally, I think that's great. And with that, we've reached the end of our list of LEGO scandals. To try and give you some variety, I did miss some of the more famous ones like the catcalling construction worker, or the $350 Star Wars set that shipped with missing pieces. And if you've got your own thoughts on these many different scandals we talked about, I welcome your opinion in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I might see you next time.
Goodbye.
And continuing from last time, thanks to these super members: Mr. Christopher, Felix Valentine, Smiley Kerr, Zera Malu, Lisa Courier, Ajmac 200,017, Anash Productions, and Bradley Bowden.